Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Collective. My name is Michelle Turner, and The Collective's focus is on a little bit of everything. Hence, it's called The Collective. Music, arts, politics, sports, and the issues of the day all have a home here. So this morning, what we're going to do is jump into something local. Randy Rubin Rodriguez and her husband, Sergio Rodriguez, are the founders of Our Kids. You may have seen them a few weeks back. We discussed their new addition on Dixwell Avenue in New Haven, Connecticut. And Our Kids is really a space that provides specialized quality services to children and families in transition. And their objective is to promote permanency, safety, and stability for children by providing mentoring services or nurturing services, I should say, to biological, foster, adoptive, and relative care families. So with that, we welcome co-founder Randy Rubin Rodriguez. She's going to talk to us about a fundraiser that they're having on March 4th virtually. So yes, you globally can pitch in and help out Our Kids. It's called The Good Adoptee. And that fundraiser is going to be March 4th at, is it 7 p.m.? 7 p.m.
Yeah, it is.
The sponsors, or you're getting help from not only the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven, but the Schubert Theater. So welcome back, Randy.
Thank you very much. We also have to give kudos to our key sponsor, the Adoption Community Network of Connecticut. They're our key sponsor, and certainly the support from the Community Foundation, and the Schubert goes without saying.
Yeah,
they have really partnered with us on this venture, which we've never done before. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
So first time for everything. How did it come about that this was what you chose?
As a fundraiser?
Yes.
So I have been involved in the adoption community for over 25 years. As many people know, Sergio and I are adoptive parents and have experienced the world of adoption and the journey that our children have gone through and continue to go through. And when a bill came up in Connecticut for adoptees to secure their original birth certificates, which they're currently denied, it really pulled at my heartstrings, because how can people not know who their first family is?
Yeah.
And we have friends with transracial adoptions, right? Their children are Caucasian and they're African American, or they're Caucasian and their children are African American. How are we those children's biological parents? That's ridiculous.
Right.
And how do you walk into a room looking around, wondering, is that my dad? Are those my grandparents?
Right.
I mean, coming from an intact family with strong extended family members, it's a very hard concept for me to grasp. As many times as I've heard stories and heard individuals' journeys, it's very hard to really hold on to that.
So this was a no-brainer, in other words.
It was, and I did have the opportunity to see this play in New York several years ago and was so moved by it that I thought, if there was a way that we could bring this play and this journey, the adult adoptee's journey, the good adoptee, right, to a big stage for many people to begin to understand that adoption is not a singular event. It's not you go to court, the judge signs the papers, woo, I have a family.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. And Suzanne Backner, who is the playwright, it is her story. It is her story. So it's biographical. And Bob Bader is the dramaturge for the play. And it's a wonderful, really riveting story.
Yeah, it's about how she tried to get her paperwork, and the state of New York still has not opened its records to adoptees. So, I can only imagine how would somebody feel in that space, right? Because like you said, it's about trying to find out who you are, and it doesn't negate anything from the people that took care of you or people that, fostered you or adopted you. It's about what you need to know about yourself.
Right. And fortunately now New York did pass a law so adult adoptees can access their birth certificates. But in Connecticut, we still can't. And that law is in the legislature this session. And
Okay.
is really, really important to get everybody's support. We are fortunate that in New Haven, all of our legislators, I think, most of our legislators do support the bill as it is written this year. But this is the 5th year now we've been trying to get this passed.
So what are the proceeds going toward for this fundraiser?
So this fundraiser, this virtual live stream play on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. is going to go toward part of our expansion. As some people know, we were a single story building and tried to do everything within the same space, basically, just different times. Now what we've done with our expansion is create a wing, if you will, in the new building, the new expansion, that is exclusively for our adoption services, which can range from people who are curious about adoption and wanting to have home studies done in a private way and pursue possibly private adoptions, whether it's domestic or international. It's for young people who have been adopted and are living with their adoptive families and are beginning as teenagers to really struggle with that sense of dual loyalty and how do I manage this and who am I? And as well as older adoptees, right, who are ideally in the college world, because that's when many young people do begin a search, right? They're completely independent. For those that do not have open adoptions, right? They go away to college and now it's like, oh, I can do this. My parents don't have to know, right? But are they really equipped to do the search? And are they really emotionally supported to find out whatever they're going to find out? It's not always a pretty story.
Yeah, I'm sure it's always not that pleasant. And I think, unfortunately, we buy into that whole beautiful media story where you discover people and they love you back and there's no disruption in their lives when you come into their lives and vice versa, all those things. And so when it doesn't turn out quite that way, it's probably a lot for people to handle.
It is. And, one of the really powerful things that's occurring now, and I can speak of this with my own experience, is the whole Ancestry.com, 23andMe.
Yes.
Right? Somebody getting a phone call or somebody getting an email. Are you related to, I'll use my case, Eli Rubin? We might be first cousins. Well, we're not first cousins. We're sisters.
Wow.
We're not first cousins.
Wow.
Okay. Now, my parents are both deceased, so I can't have that conversation. Her mother is deceased, as is our father. Is that how we want this process to go?
Right.
You know, let's open those records. Let's be proactive.
And
right?
give
avoid
somebody
some of those disruptions.
Right. I was going to say, and give somebody a platform in which they can stand on and approach people in a different light, a different sense. So, how's this going to go? What are we, if I buy my ticket, what happens?
So you're going to go to, I think it's Schubert.com, right? I can send you the flyer if you don't have it.
Please do.
Put up. Okay. You can go online to the Schubert, or you can call their box office at 203-562-5666 and pay for your tickets right online. And if you're interested in grabbing something to eat, you can also go to Brazzi's.com and get a 15% discount on your pickup meal from Brazzi's if you mention our kids. So
you don't
Val
have to...
and Brazzi's have been a longtime supporter of our kids from the very first event we ever did.
That's wonderful.
And then you will get an email back with a link so that at about 10 to 7, you can begin coming into the room. And the play, we'll introduce the play, and you'll be welcome to join and participate. And then we're going to have a live talk back.
Yes, that's what I'm interested in. So after I have my dinner and production theater, I actually get to talk to, after go to the theater. Who am I going to be talking with in the talk back?
So everyone will have the opportunity to meet the playwright, Suzanne, and Bob, the dramaturge of the play production, as well as 3 adult adoptees.
Wow.
Two of whom are local. Gary Osprey is with a radio station, and forgive me, but I forget the station that he's with. Wait, maybe I have it written down.
Is he
WINY?
Okay,
and I believe it's out of like the Waterbury area, maybe out over there. Gary's an adult adoptee with a fascinating transracial story. Jessica Teta, who's with the United Way of Greater New Haven. A lot of people know Jessica. She's an international adoptee. And our very own Randy Renee McCrae, who is a social justice and equity consultant, and just, moving into her new office, I believe, this weekend. So we're very excited about hearing from them and how their journeys also relate to the play, and have people ask questions, right? We're really interested in hearing from the audience. We will be asking ahead of time. If you have a question, send it in ahead of time. And then we'll also be doing a live chat. So if there's lots of energy, we will be setting up a second Zoom for those people who are interested in continuing the conversation the following week.
All right. So Randy, we've got 15 seconds. So tell us again how we get tickets.
The good adoptees at the Schubert. Call the box office, 203-562-5666. And thank you so much to our corporate sponsor, Adoption Community Network of the state of Connecticut, as well as the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven, and the wonderful team at the Schubert. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Randy Ruben Rodriguez, co-founder of Our Kids. I will see you there Thursday, the 4th, 7 p.m.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thanks.
Everybody stay safe.
You
see
too,
you Thursday.
Randy. Appreciate
Bye.
it. Bye-bye. Please do support, as that's a wonderful, wonderful organization that has been around a long time in the New Haven community and does great work. We're going to totally move in a different direction. As you may have heard, during the past week, a letter was released by a former New York police officer, allegedly on his deathbed. And it said the officer, was a participant in a group of elite officers who, I want to put it a different way. I don't want to say conspired, but I guess that's the word to use, to pull the security detail from Malcolm X. They are saying that because of this officer's ploy to remove these two officers who had infiltrated the Nation of Islam and had become part of Malcolm X's detail, they pulled the detail. This officer was in charge of those folks who pulled the detail, which left Malcolm X without security, therefore making it easier for the assassination to take place for the Audubon Ballroom speech. And if I'm stumbling, that's because we're doing some technical things behind the scenes and I'm trying to keep up. But you may know Abdur Rahman Muhammad from the Netflix documentary, Who Killed Malcolm X. He's been a guest on this show from the very beginning, and we're so happy to have him come back today and talk about what this revelation may mean, not only to the case, but for the people who have been wrongly accused of being a part of the assassination of Malcolm X. So, Abdur Rahman Muhammad, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. And we're also going to talk about your award at the end. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Got to give you your props.
All right.
So, this officer, Officer Ray Woods?
Ray Wood.
Ray Wood. Ray Wood was the person who was in charge of these officers who had infiltrated Malcolm X's security detail, correct?
No, what he did was he orchestrated a plot to blow up the
Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty, yes. Right. These two men that he, in a sense, set up in a crime were part of Malcolm's security detail. At least that's the claim, you know.
Okay.
All right. Now here's the story. Okay. Here's the claim of the letter. Okay.
Yes.
That Ray Wood was an undercover police officer for BOSS, okay, the Bureau of Special Services, okay, and Investigations, which was an ultra secretive wing of the New York City Police Department. Okay, he acted in the same type of way as, let's say, Gene Roberts, who you saw in the series. Okay, he was Malcolm's security detail, and he provided mouth-to-mouth resuscitation for Malcolm once he was shot. Like Eugene Roberts, Ray Wood too was a bossy agent, an undercover police officer for the New York City Police Department. And the claim is that he helped to, in a sense, peel off two of Malcolm's most dedicated security detail to involve them in a plot to blow up the Statue of Liberty. Okay. And so by taking them off of the scene, taking them out of the Audubon Ballroom, about 4 or 5 days before it happened, that he left Malcolm exposed to the hit team, the assassins that came out of the Newark Mosque, number 25, the 5 men who carried that out, that Ray Wood ostensibly facilitated their executing that plan.
Now, based on your research, does this put a puzzle piece almost in place? Because all of this is alleged. So does it fit? Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it fits. Sure, it fits. Because should these claims turn out to be sound, and that's being vetted, by the district attorney of New York, Manhattan, Cyrus Vance Jr.,
right,
it would confirm what we have already proven in Who Killed Malcolm X. In Who Killed Malcolm X, we put on camera Anthony Boozer, who was the director of BOSS, okay, the Bureau of Special Services. We put him on camera, all right? And there we showed you, police officers staked out on the top of surveillance trucks and monitoring, the activity of activists and those involved in the Black freedom struggle. We showed you that. So that's established, But
now, when you do show it, it also shows that, unlike other times when Malcolm X was speaking, especially in Harlem, the police were close. They were feet away. You can see them standing around. But with this particular incident, it seems that there are no police. They're either, like you said, located on a roof. But as far as, there were no police cars, there were no officers outside of the Audubon Ballroom that were visible anyway. So it seems that something went on, because people who followed Malcolm X, even just general people who followed him in New York City to hear him speak, said, and I believe one of the people that you interviewed even said, it was strange because there were no police anywhere. Well, and you got the feeling going in that something was different about this day.
Well, that's correct. Usually Malcolm's speaking events were swarming with police officers. And this particular afternoon, even the casual observer noticed that there was no police officers. There were 2 actually in the building, but they were way in the back in the other ballroom. They weren't even in the hall. So, the question becomes, was this orchestrated? And, we leave the question out there, and Who Killed Malcolm X? We posed the question, why is this so? But perhaps Ray Woods is going to, answer that question for us. It's absolutely consistent with what we have proven already in Who Killed Malcolm X, that the New York City Police Department certainly didn't protect Malcolm and had antipathy for him. Now how far did it go? Did it go as far as them orchestrating the assassination in conjunction with the FBI, that they conspired to peel away his security detail. I will say this, it is known that the rostrum guards, the two men who were on the rostrum that day, were not the normal men that Malcolm had usually. Okay. Usually he had a man named George. His last name was George. But that day, there was Robert 35 X. Smith and Charles X. Kenyatta. Both of those men were from Newark.
So they were out of the Newark Mosque.
They were
not affiliated, but definitely out of Newark.
They were part of Malcolm's organization. But they were out of Newark. So they knew the assassins. They were looking right at them, sitting in the audience. Now the question is, and this is where Ray Wood's letter fits in, which is that, when you have a sports team, for example, right? When you lose pieces, then you have to start moving pieces around, right? So if Ray Wood peeled away these two men that ultimately, went to jail involved in this plot, then that would mean that Malcolm's security would have to move people around. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And perhaps have these two men from Newark who were looking directly at the assassins and said nothing. Was that orchestrated? This is just one of the questions that that I'm having in my mind.
All right, Abdul Rahman, we're gonna come back. I need to take a break real quick, but stick around because I got more questions and we got more discussion. Okay.
Okay.
This is The Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio. Be right back. This is The Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio. My name is Michelle Turner, and in the virtual studio with us today is Abdur Rahman Muhammad, the focus of the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X. His research has given police officers or the New York City Police Department a new look into the murder of Malcolm X. And he's here today, and he's been a consistent guest, and I'm very appreciative of that. He's here today to discuss the so-called deathbed confession of Raymond Wood. He's the New York City officer who came up with a plot allegedly to pull people out of Malcolm X's security detail on February 21st, 1965, which was the day that Malcolm X was assassinated. So Abdur
Rahman,
in pulling out those security people and substituting them with people's security detail out of Newark, New Jersey, even though these people were part of Malcolm's detail, would you say that their allegiance was more to the nation and not necessarily Malcolm?
Well, that's a possibility. That's
and all things are possible,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All the problem is this is so long ago, and all of these men have long since passed away. Now, the claim is that these two men were on the door detail, not on the rostrum. But my point was that if the door detail is gone and you have to pull someone away from the rostrum, the normal rostrum security to cover the door, then it puts in place these two men from Newark, Robert 35 X. Smith and Charles X. Blackwell. You put them, on the rostrum, were they part of a broader conspiracy to orchestrate this? Because this was noticed that these were not the normal rostrum security detail. So this is what we want to. This is what we want to explore. I think these allegations are absolutely explosive. The two men who were arrested, one of whose name was Bo, the other one was Khalil, Muslim name, and these there was a dramatic reading of the letter last week that really upset the apple cart, so to speak. But we were gratified in that it confirmed the position that we've always taken, that there were three entities, three bodies who worked in not in concert, but there was a confluence of interests that came together on February 21st, 1965. And that number one was J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. Number two was the New York City Police Department. And number three was the Nation of Islam, who were the actual triggermen.
So you had a perfect storm.
A perfect storm. And if you add the Ray Wood element to it, all it does is make it that much more of an intrigue.
And he says the reason why he kept quiet all these years was because he was threatened. He says not only his life, but his family's. So he kept it quiet. And he shared it with this particular family member. And that's how they got the letter. Now, he died in November. And his daughter said yesterday that the letter is not true, that that's not her father's signature. And her cousin, who released the letter and read the letter, is doing this for his own fame. But yet and still, from what you've just said, it sounds like Mr. Wood decided that he needed to let this go out of his conscience. And like you said, a lot of these people who were involved have now transitioned, have now passed on. So there's always going to be an element of, is that the way it really happened? But it seems that from your research that there's more than a 90% chance that the puzzle is finally falling into place.
Well, I'm not going to put a percentage on it. And, I'm not going to co-sign the letter. Okay. I mean, because that will have to be vetted by the
different
DA,
way.
Right. And that's why I make the point that, who killed Malcolm X already established that the New York City Police Department failed to protect Malcolm X, right, for whatever reason. So, we don't need this letter to make our case. That's the point. The letter has already kind of entered into the urban legend, the urban mythology now. It's taken on a life of its own. We have the Nation of Islam claiming exoneration,
by this letter.
By this letter, they're seizing upon this letter to say, that their hands are totally clean. Their hands are not totally clean. They're not clean at all.
Why do you say that?
Well, because if we establish that the shotgun assassin was a man by the name of William X. Bradley, also known as Al-Mustafa Shabazz, and that after an entire year, a man who has a wife, a man who has children, a man who's part of a community, and over a year, no one has denied, the facts that we put forth in the documentary. It's well established and well known that that William X. Bradley and the other conspirators, Benjamin Thomas, Talmadge Hayer, Leon Davis, and Benjamin Thomas, I think I mentioned him, right? That yes. They were all, that they were all members of the Nation of Islam. Okay, they were all members, and William Bradley was a lieutenant who, went on to be part of that community many years after the assassination of Malcolm X. So they're in it. There's no way that they can claim exoneration from this letter. When you already establish, okay, that they were the trigger men, if it so happens later that we learned that there was another boss agent involved like let's say a Eugene Roberts, how does
Mhm.
that exonerate the Nation of Islam? How do they get the claim that their hands are clean? It doesn't. It really has no bearing on their role. They were the trigger men. So, there's no way that they can claim exoneration.
So you're saying it's apples and oranges.
It's total apples and oranges. It has no relationship to one another. If all it would prove is that the machinations of the New York City Police Department was more expansive than what we presented in the series. That's all it would prove. It doesn't negate
It doesn't
the fact.
change anything.
It doesn't change a thing. It doesn't change one thing.
So what does this mean for those who have been wrongly accused of being involved in the assassination? I know that there have been some work behind the scenes that's not getting a lot of exposure, and it's probably with good reason, I don't know, in regard to getting those gentlemen's names cleared.
Well, that's the goal, Mr. Wood, Reggie Wood, said that he wanted to get all three of those men exonerated. One of the men was in our series, Thomas 15X Johnson, who went on to be known as Khalil Islam, and the two other gentlemen he mentioned, Bo and I believe his name is Khalil, or I forget. It's a Muslim name, but I forget.
Yes.
Yeah. He wants to get them clear. He says that his cousin, in order to protect his cousin's cover, okay, as an operative for boss, that they arrested Thomas Johnson, that they in a sense put a case on Thomas Johnson, that they wrongly or falsely arrested and convicted Thomas Johnson to cover or protect his identity as an as a New York City police officer. So he says that he wants to exonerate all three of these men, and of course, we want to see anyone who's wrongfully convicted exonerated. But in our series, specifically, we filed paperwork with the Convictions Integrity Unit to get the name of Norman 3X Butler and Thomas 15X Johnson exonerated. Today, Norman Butler is known as Muhammad Abdul Aziz, and that's what he's known as, in the series. That is his name. And unfortunately, Thomas Johnson passed away in 2009. And it was a really grim struggle to see that elderly gentleman, trying to clear his name, and he was quite ill, and he was having some financial troubles at the end of his life, and it was really kind of pitiful, to see him on his way to his eventual end, not able to clear his name. It's an awful thing to die with that kind of stigma on you, that type of slander.
Yeah. So do we wait? Do we wait for Cy Vance to say yay or nay on this? Is that where it seems to be heading?
That's exactly where it is. Now, what I would say is that things would have moved much quicker were it not for the COVID virus. So when COVID hit, the municipal archives and, the government bureaucracies where we need to get documents and materials to substantiate these claims. Now, let me make it clear as well. I'm not part of the legal team. Okay. But of course my work undergirds what they're doing, but he has lawyers, David Cheney's, and he also is working with the Innocence Project with Barry Scheck. That's what they do. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a party to that.
Right. But the reason why I asked you to come today And the reason why I brought that up is because I wanted to get your feedback on all of it, especially because these were things that, while most people talked about them, the documentary and your research brought all of that to light to not only African Americans, but the globe. Anybody who has any interest in Malcolm X, I'm sure either has seen who killed Malcolm X or has told somebody else and they've watched it. I mean, for 6 months, that's all everybody could talk about during the pandemic. So I bring you in to get your perspective, not necessarily to make you a party of or a party to, as much as it is, you're the expert. And so I want to hear from the expert. If I can reach the source, I'm going to the source, and you are that. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. What I would say is about that is the reason the series has received so much acclaim, and it's the facts of history that it established. The reason it's been so well received is because we stuck to the most solid evidence that we had. There were so many other personalities that could have been brought into the story. For example, all the time, where's Minister Farrakhan? How comes Minister Farrakhan's not in it? We get all that. There's so many other names that circulate around the story that could have been brought into the story. However, we wanted to deliver the goods. All right. We wanted to make it, irrefutable, incontrovertible. And so anything that, would, for example, have any element of conjecture or something that could not be nailed down tight, we did not include. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the reason.
Because I'm sure this is expansive. I'm sure there's, even though you did, yeoman's work in exposing a lot of different things, I'm sure there's a lot more that we, the general public, still don't know about all of this. And you probably have seen, but like you said, you're trying to give something irrefutable. And so that in itself has to be narrowed down. It has to even be whittled down so that it makes sense and that it doesn't take different avenues.
It's called rigor in the historical profession.
Yes.
It's called rigor.
Yes.
We have to be rigorous and we have to be airtight. It has to be airtight. It's airtight. Now who pulled that shotgun. It's airtight. Okay. And only those who are, just denying reality, really, you know what I mean? Just denying all rationality, are saying that the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with it. Okay. They're producing videos and they're on a full-blown propaganda campaign to say that they had nothing to do with it, which is, to me, insanity.
You have just been recognized by your alma mater, Howard University, with the Chadwick Boseman Award. Let me get it right. Our favorite actor of this century.
That's right.
And also an HU grad.
That's correct.
I'm gonna be nice and shout out HU. I'll be nice. I'll be nice, but remember, you're talking to an A&T Aggie, so you're gonna get a little pushback. Congratulations, and tell us what that is. What does that mean, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, it's incredible to me. I received it from the Capstone Group, which is an august body of alumni and faculty of Howard University, for my work in Who Killed Malcolm X, and it is the first annual. So I received the first one ever. Last August, we lost the great thespian Chadwick Boseman, who was a Howard University alum and a great, phenomenal human being and humanitarian. And so in order to honor his legacy, the Capstone Group created this award, and they decided to give it to me. And I'm very humbled and honored to represent that legacy. And it's near and dear to my heart, and I will cherish it to my last breath, because it's the first award I've ever received for my work as a historian. So that means so much to me.
Pretty good for a guy with a BA.
Yeah, man. I don't have all those big letters behind my name. I'm just a brother, man. I'm just a brother out here trying to get it done.
So how's the course going? Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, the course is fantastic. It's now 2 parts. It's not being offered right now, but I believe I'm going to be offering a spring version of it.
Okay.
I've already had 2 of Malcolm's nieces take the course. I've had a niece of Thelonious Monk who has taken the course. I've had a daughter of Amiri Baraka who's taken the course. I've had people from all over the world take the course. I've had folks from Bahrain. I've had folks from France. It is, I think, the most unique offering, a complete study of the life of Malcolm X through his iconic book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X. And we go through meticulous detail, page by page by page of this book, unveiling who the characters are, where it kind of shades the truth a little bit, where it kind of exaggerates, where it kind of mitigates other things, where it's silent on other things, because an autobiography is just a person telling their life story,
Right.
And when you tell your own life story, you're going to be the hero, obviously. You're not going to tell it.
Right. And Alex Haley finished the book after the assassination. So there was more empathy on everybody's part about Malcolm X's story. So I think for me in reading it, what I got out of it was that here was somebody who came from very humble beginnings and corrected his life, took on not only the highest spiritual calling that you could probably task as a human being, but really was somebody who was not going to back down in what his community needed. And his community trusted him enough to sanction him as a leader. Although we know Malcolm X was not as revered by the African American community, just like Dr. King was not revered in the African American community as much as they are in this moment. So for me, the autobiography, it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot.
Well, these men have gone on to become, iconic, and they're larger than life. But, we do a disservice to them when we treat them that way, because what makes them great really is the fact that they were flesh and blood. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And they had the same kind of struggles that we encountered. And it is true, at the end of both of their lives, the people had kind of turned on them, especially in the case of, Dr. King. A lot of folks don't really understand that at the end of his life, even the civil rights leaders were turning on him because of
he was more controversial than he had ever been.
Yeah, he took on the Vietnam War, and he was stepping out of his lane. And what was
So
his
they
lane?
said, yes.
So they said, right. You're a civil rights leader. Why are you talking about the war? He was seen as being turning on the Johnson administration, and that upset the funding sources of all these civil rights organizations. And so the ministers and these civil rights leaders turned on him. The Johnson administration.
Rahman, we're gonna have to leave it there.
Okay.
I'm getting a wrap-up signal.
Alrighty.
But nevertheless, you're always welcome to come back.
Thank you so much. I sure appreciate it.
You're always welcome to come back here. Consider the collective a place where you can jump in at any time. Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. I'm anxious to see what's going to happen with this letter. So I'm sure you'll be back.
It's be my pleasure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Abdul Rahman Muhammad, the person, the power behind the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X. This has been The Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back.
Yo.
We back.
What's up, man?
Mills, King C. Los, what it look like? We back.
Gotta feed these streets.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That man been reading my notes. That's what he been reading. The Hustle Within, episode 16, season 2. We got a great show tonight, man. How y'all guys? How's the weekend going? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Happy
Appreciate
Sunday.
it, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, we gotta jump right into it, man. We gotta go into the top 5. Top 5 most successful African American CEOs of all time. The top 5. Who you got? I'm taking all bets. Who you got?
I'm gonna go first. I ain't gonna pick the woman that everybody would think I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go with the dude with the same name as me, Kenneth.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Okay, Kenneth.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They say all K's are good.
The K's good. Okay. King C-Lo, what you got for me?
I'm gonna go with Oprah.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one. And we're gonna jump right into it. The number one top CEO, most successful Black African American CEOs of all time is Oprah. Number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey. Number 2, Kenneth Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
The KKs.
3, Ursula Barnes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And number 4, Robert L. Johnson. Y'all might know him as Bob Johnson. And then number 5, Aliko Delgado. Yes, sir. He a billionaire. So the name is hard to pronounce, but he's a billionaire. And then I got an honorable mention. I just watched the movie on Netflix the other night, Madam C.J. Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, word.
So yes, sir. So these are our top 5 with an honorable mention. Most successful Black African American CEO of all time. What do you think, King Los? I'm gonna go right to you. What do you think about these top 5?
So these African Americans or are these just Africans?
These are African Americans. Well, African American.
I think one of those guys. I think he was from Africa.
Yeah, I think one is from Africa, but let's say African and African American descent. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, they still trail their counterparts by a lot. When you think about it, I mean, they're probably like, it's very few of them in the billionaire club, if that makes sense. So, but it's good to see see it starting to kind of expand. So
I think all 5 of these top 5 was all in billions. Oprah is a billionaire. Kenneth Frazier is a billionaire. If he's not a billionaire, he's close to it. And well, they are very successful CEOs. So I know they in at least the late 500 million, 600 million, something in that world. If they're not quite billionaires. K Mills, what you think? What you got? What you think about Oprah?
Yeah, I knew Oprah was in there. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
me and Dave Chappelle would date her. Me and Dave Chappelle will. Yeah.
well, y'all date her, I get her pregnant.
Oh. Hey, you can't
Everybody
get
get
my girl
calls.
now, man. K Mills, you can't get my girl now, man. I'm gonna marry this woman. Marry this woman, man. Now,
Oh man.
I'm gonna marry her now. That's who I'm gonna marry now. That's my future wife. I'm gonna have that big ring on my finger now. I'm all about that. Me and Dave Chappelle, we done talked about that before.
Everybody say, "Hey, Oprah! Hey, Oprah!"
Hey, Oprah, how you doing? Okay,
oh man.
what do you think about Oprah, K Mills? Besides you gonna get her pregnant, what else you got going on?
And she's a very bright, educated black woman. I like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's all about beautiful black Nubian queens. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
King CeeLo's, what you got for Oprah? What you got on Oprah? You trying to marry her too, or you trying to get her pregnant?
He looking sneaky back there.
He looking sneaky. What you trying to do now? Yeah, y'all gonna stop intercepting me.
No,
Y'all
oh
I'm
man.
not trying to
name
get
online,
pregnant.
everything.
No, I'm not. But it's good to see her out there. You know, she comes from a real humble background, but most importantly, she is inspiration to a lot of people, and I think that resonates and that connects with a lot of young women that have gone through a struggle or something.
Right.
So it's good to see her, somebody that came out of the gutter to where she is now, a media mogul, if you will. So it's always good to see, that growth. So Oprah epitomizes that. So it's good to see.
And then we definitely got to touch on Bob Johnson, which is Robert L. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Bobcat. He owned the Bobcats, and he's known for Black Entertainment Television, BET.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Founder of BET. What do y'all think about
Yep.
Bob Johnson? K Mills, I know, hey, you watch BET. We grew up on BET, man.
Yeah. He sold it though, didn't he? Didn't he sell it?
Yeah, he sold it to Viacom. Viacom owns it, but they gave him a lot of money for it, but he was the founder of BET.
Yeah, I
And the
remember.
Bobcat. And he founded the Bobcat. He was the first
Yeah.
first African American owner in the NBA, which opened up the doors for Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think?
Yep.
What do you think about Bob Johnson?
I mean, that was BET was great. I mean, back in the day, they completely changed it. Now I don't even know do they even show videos on it now?
No, I don't think they show videos, but they do a lot of black.
Yeah, they got a lot of shows
They
and
got a
stuff
lot
now
of
though.
Tyler Perry shows up there. A lot of
Yeah.
Tyler Perry. You got Irv Gotti. His show is on BET now.
Mm-hmm.
Tales is on BET. I don't know when they coming back with that, but that's on BET. I think 50 Cent even got some stuff on BET coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, I mean, Tyler Perry run BET basically. He basically CEO of BET right now.
Mm-hmm.
You got every other show.
Yeah, all these shows,
Tyler
all the
Perry.
shows on there. Yeah. I like his shows.
And Kendall Frazier, he's known. He works for, I think, Merck. I think it's Merck he worked for. The CEO of one of the biggest, I want to say, drug companies in the world.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I think he's one of the biggest, drug companies now. Hey, now he do the other type of drugs. Now he's part of the other,
Make sure everybody understand this now.
They understand now. This is not the drugs that. Yeah, it's not that one on the left side. It's the one on the right side now. We talking about the drugs on the right side now. We talking about the ones on the left. So let everybody know we ain't talking about them type of drugs now. We talking about like pain. Well, that might be on the left too a little bit. Let me go back. Let me redo this. We talking about somebody might have arthritis, that type of medicine, aspirins. He's the CEO of that type of company, that type of drug company. So what do y'all think about Mr. Kenneth Frazier? He got the same name as UK Mills, Kenneth.
Yeah, K's are great. Ain't nothing better than dating a K.
Uh-oh. Now, what about you, King Los? What do you think about Mr. Kenneth Frazier?
Well, let me backtrack. Mr. Bob Johnson.
Okay,
so
Mr. Bob Johnson. Okay.
Most people don't know, when he sold BET, that bankrolled his opportunity to buy and open up a franchise, bring a franchise back to Charlotte, right?
Yep.
So big shout out to Charlotte, but also
Charlotte, what's up, rap? Hey,
Yep,
holla
yep.
at me. Salute.
So I do have affiliations with the Charlotte Bobcats.
Yes, sir.
Many years ago. I won't go into too much detail about my affiliation with the Bobcats, but it was a interesting experience. But I came in actually when Michael Jordan was the CEO, and so that was interesting to see somebody I grew up
You
watching.
came in on the Jordan reign.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So just that, yeah. So that's my little quick story about the Bobcats and all that good stuff. But Merck, the gentleman with Merck, it's good to see us making money in industries that have been traditionally dominant by our counterparts. And so it's always encouraging to see us making money in that industry.
Right.
Um, and we hope, right, the Bob Johnsons of the world, the Oprahs, and, this gentleman with Merck, he's pulling somebody else up, right? In the
Right.
spirit of Black History Month, we hope that we
Black
are
History Year.
supporting people. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got to talk about Miss Ursula Barnes. She's a New York native, and she was over Xerox. I think they changed the name, but she was
Mhm.
over the Xerox company. I went to one of her events and met her in person. She's very good, educated. She worked her way up from the bottom to the top. I mean, from when she was telling us and talking to her, she said she started at ground level and worked her way all the way up to the top to be CEO of Xerox, which is one of the biggest copier print companies. And they got so many different entities in that business that is great. I mean, and I think she stepped down as the CEO now. And I think she's in a different position, but I know she ran Xerox for a long time, and she got them to that Fortune 500 level and kept them at that Fortune 500 level. And I want to mention a little bit about Madam C.J. Walker. I mean, this is Black History Month, and she was the first Black female and probably male in that category, African Americans, to be a millionaire, the first millionaire, the first Black millionaire
Mm-hmm.
in history. Um, and her products are still going strong. And I think her company is still going and still making money. You know, it's a lot of the women are still using the products. So I think she's very well represented in today's time, and we have to continue to just keep moving forward with Black culture, man. Like I talked about a couple shows ago, we gotta hey, we're Americans, we African Americans, but we gotta celebrate every day, not just a month. We gotta keep making history. Yep. But and then Aleko Delgado. We gotta talk about him too. He's a very big uh, advocate for different things going on in Nigeria. I believe
Mm-hmm.
he has a lot of stuff over here in America that he's doing, like a lot of. I mean, he's just big. He's just putting a lot of money back into the communities and putting the money back into Africa, which is the roots, the motherland. Uh, us as African Americans, a lot of times, we look at it like our roots date back to different parts of Africa. And we have to look at it like, hey, we got to salute this man. This brother been doing a lot for America and Africa. We got to
Mm-hmm.
continue to salute these are players. These are big ballers. These are big
Mm-hmm.
baller brands,
Mm-hmm.
CEOs. So, hey, any last words before we move on, guys? By anybody that y'all who was there anybody that y'all didn't see on the list that say, hey, I thought this person should have been higher or should have been on the list, top five?
Well, I think I'm surprised. Yeah, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we opened it up with successful billionaires, right? Or
Yeah,
was it just top billionaires? So, successful billionaires, you got to think about Michael Jordan, the
yeah,
Jordan brand, now, CEO, 90% ownership of the Charlotte Hornets. You got to think about the gentleman that ran um, Amex for a very long time. I forget his name, but you can Google him and find his name out there. And then you got some of this new money billionaires that's just coming up.
Like
You know,
Jay-Z.
like, yeah,
Jay-Z.
I mean,
Hip hop.
you know, yeah,
Diddy.
I mean,
Dr.
that I
Dre.
mean that speaks volumes to
Hip hop, yeah.
his financial and business acumen when it comes to expanding his brand and diving into other things other than music, if that makes sense.
Right. So what about you, K Mills? Anybody that you thought would be on the list that wasn't on the list, the top 5?
I just Jordan. That was it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like you said, Jordan, he's in the top 10. Let me let y'all know
Yeah.
that Jordan was
Yeah.
in
I
the
know he's
top
in, yeah,
10.
top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan was in the top 10. And like I said, these top 5 players that's in the top right now are been around for years, and they've been. And I'm not saying that they are all billionaires, but they are all successful CEOs. That's basically what I have to narrow it down to. They are top 5 most successful because we don't have too many black CEOs right now.
What Kanye West? Kanye West is he a CEO?
Yeah, he's CEO of his company. Yeah, but he's
Yeah,
not.
he's
Kanye
the
West wasn't.
CEO of Wyoming.
Yeah, he's not. He's really not a. He has a lot of partnerships, so you really can't say he's more of a.
Yeah.
He runs his own business, but he has a lot of partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys up here in the top 5, they
Yeah,
built
they
their
run
own
their own.
companies from the ground up,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they came in on companies that was already Fortune 500 and took over and
Mm-hmm.
ran these companies and made these companies bigger. Kanye
Mm-hmm.
West started from the ground up, but he started
Mm-hmm.
in music. So these are hip hop. If I was
Yeah.
doing the top 5 hip hop moguls, billionaires, then definitely
Mm-hmm.
Kanye West would be in that top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z would be in that top 5. Dr. Dre would be in that top 5. Diddy would be in that top 5. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and then Nas would round off in the top 10 somewhere. So hey,
Mm-hmm.
we making numbers, man. We gotta. With that being said, we gotta move to the second segment, man. We got the shooting the breeze segment, man. Hey, I'm gonna just use a couple, just a little phrase: love versus wealth. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna move right to you, King C. Los. Love versus wealth. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I don't have any real. Well, let me take that back. Let me go here with it. Um, Love versus wealth. You can love your wealth. How about that? Right? I mean, you can mix it
Right,
up, love your wealth and all that. But like at the end of the day, love fades away, and what you're left with is companionship. You know, for some of those streets cats, they like ride or die. You
right.
know, because love, there's different phases of love. Like, there's the phase of where your heart is beating and you like got butterflies. We've all experienced that love. 18, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
Then go through that other phase where you like,
Well, I was in
all
love
right.
with a lot. I was in love with a lot in 16, 17, 18. I was in love. I was in real love. I was in Mary J. Blige said real love. I was in real love with a
Mhm.
lot of different.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to you,
yeah.
King C. Lo. So I'm just cutting up.
I know. But I mean, like, and then it kind of transforms. It grows into something different.
Right,
That's why when people get married when they're young, a lot there's like these days now, people are not staying together forever, right?
right.
And once they hit their 30s, mid 30s to early 40s, these people are divorced. It's
Yep.
because the love that they have, they shared, and the love that they had transformed over time. And they forgot how to keep
I'm
it
put my cell
going,
phone on this
and
one.
they fall out of love. But then there's the second half of your life, which is
Right.
40 and up, where you're like, you know, it's nice to have someone, but my
Mm-hmm.
priorities are more about long term wealth and stability. But I also would like to have somebody to share that with. So it's that delicate balance where, as long as you have commitment and because I think you can you can hit reset and get redos and with regards to love in your later age because you're well versed and you have a better understanding of what love is. But priorities shift and change once you start getting older. in your 40s or your late 30s to your 40s, you're thinking about long-term wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, if someone comes along to, you know, be there for you and you can learn and choose, right? Keyword is choose to love that person. Then I think you've kind of gone through the maturity age of love.
What about you, King K Mills? What you got?
Okay,
Love
well,
versus wealth.
if I'm in a relationship, I pick love because love is priceless. But if I'm single, give me wealth all day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. Can love surpass wealth? King Los, can love surpass wealth?
No.
Okay, K Mills.
But like I said, it depends on if you're single or in a relationship. Because you can
Okay,
always make money. You can make money single or in a relationship. But yeah, if you're in a relationship, then yeah, like I say, love is priceless. But if you're
I
single,
think
it's
in
no love.
today's society, I think wealth is bigger than love because everybody's greedy for money. Everybody want money. I mean, everything you think about, most of the divorce rate in the United States of America and throughout the world is based off wealth, based off financial hardships. You not making money, I'm not making money, we not loving each other anymore. Game over.
Mhm.
Divorce.
Yeah.
That's where people are messing up. I think a lot of these relationships are a lot of people coming in. Like I had a discussion the other day with someone, and they were
Don't forget
saying,
about the
"Hey,
cheating though.
huh?
Hey, don't forget about the cheating because of the love lost
So,
now.
so
Yeah, cheating.
I,
It's all
but
it's all types of stuff,
I
man. It's all
position
types
it
of stuff
this
that
way.
comes with this.
This
Yeah.
this how I position it. Can love garnish you, or not even garnish you, but can love bring you wealth, right? Can love
No,
bring you wealth?
no,
Now, I reverse that. Can wealth bring you love?
no, no. Because they're just gonna be around you for money.
So,
Yeah, they're
so,
gonna love
so
your money.
Yeah.
but that's the reality of the transaction between
They
man and
gonna love
woman
your money.
today. You see what I mean? Like today, the
Mm.
transaction is,
That's why
what can you do
relationship
for
don't
me?
last.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
You know what I
my
mean?
second question: should money be compared to love?
No,
No,
how,
I don't
nah.
think so.
Okay, all right. Why? K Mills. Why? Why should with that question? Should money be compared to love? Why? Why
Because
not?
money is physical. Love is feelings.
Oh,
And
mine is
you can
physical.
touch money, you can't touch your feelings.
Hey,
That's
my love is physical. I don't know. Hey, my love physical. Hey, I told you I used to love live emails at 16, 17, 18, 19. Hey,
oh
man, I was in
man.
love a lot. I was in love a lot. And what about you, King Los? Should money be compared
Man,
to love?
what was that? I'm sorry.
Should money be compared to love?
No, I think there's a correlation,
Okay.
but I don't think there's a comparison. You
Okay.
know, the more money
My
you
last
got,
question
the
to you.
more your potential of falling in love increases, or not you fall in love, somebody fall in love with you, increases substantially. The less money you have, the correlation is it's going to be a long time before that love comes around
Yeah,
and,
a little
Cupid
harder.
shoots you with the arrow.
All right. The last question: is love more important than money?
Like I said, my answer is if you're in a relationship, yes and no. But if you're single, no. Cause you gotta have money if you're single. But you're in a relationship, then you're gonna
Well,
need that
you
love to
listen,
survive. You can always get a
right,
job and get money.
right. And then you also got different types of love. Love for a pet, love for a child, love for a woman, whatever. Or a man, whatever people do, right? I don't want to leave nobody out. But, can it, what I mean? Like, you got to define that love. If you
Mhm.
choose to love that person, or are you waiting for butterflies or some type of, physical reaction, you know, those days are over with. When we're young, like, oh my God, my heart pounding, butterflies in my stomach, I'm nervous, I'm going to
Mhm.
get carnations. When you get to my age, you ain't bringing carnation. You might get the door when you open it. I don't know.
Hey, so hey, hey. With that being said, man, we about to jump into one of the most loved segments on the show is the K Mill story to tell, and I think I'm out of my dirty water, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it to K Mills. Let K Mills go ahead and tell his story to tell. Hey, I'm gonna kick it to you. Go ahead, take it away, K Mills.
Yeah, this
Salute.
equipment. They gotta feed these streets.
Feed these streets now.
Hey, check this out, right? So this was when I was in high school. It was a holiday or something. Thursday was the last day of school. So I had a kickback. It was like me and 5 other dudes and all type of chicks from school, man. Most of them chicks never did nothing before in their life. So I had a house full of pollen.
Pollen. Oh God. Okay.
Them chicks never. Yeah, they want to see. They want to see if they're allergic to it. So come to find out, a lot of them was allergic to it. And you know, when they're allergic to it, they do things they do strange things that they normally don't do.
Yes, sir.
So it was Donkey Kong going on everywhere.
Everywhere. Oh God.
But see that. But the second part of the story. Yeah, second part of the story is Friday now. Now I'm going to see Julius play basketball, and y'all know he Bowden. So yes, he like Allen Iverson. Yeah, we go to the game. I'm like Tupac on above the rim.
Oh my God. Okay.
So we in the game. Tip off start. He took the ball off the gate. Julius pulled to the side, hit a 3. I said, "Oh." He looking at me like rock the baby. He go down the court. They score. He come back, cross the dude over, spin, layup. He score again. They take the ball out. He get another steal. He do a layup. Then he looking at me. See, Julius used to play with me. This is his first time not playing with me. So the whole time he talking to me while I'm on the sideline. So he score again. But this time he like, "Yo, what's good?" I'm like, "What's up?" So he run back down the court. Then he come down the court again. He said, "Look behind you, man." I look back, man. It's like, you know how when them new Jordans come out at Foot Locker and everybody in a long line?
Yeah.
Man, it's 100 dudes standing at the top of the bleachers like that, man. I'm like, "Yo, man, it's like 100 dudes up there, man." I'm like, "Yo, what is going on?" So like I said, we had that kickback, man. All them chicks are there. Some of them dudes, that were their girls. Now, I ain't sleep with none of their girls or nothing. I don't think none of my boys, I don't know. But they was back there mad. And the whole time they sitting there talking. All I hear them saying, "Don't let K Mills get to the car." So I put my hand, first I put my hand up like I had a sword. I said, "Thunder, thunder, Thundercat."
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So yeah, so the sheriff came. They like, we're gonna need y'all to leave. Like, leave? Man, we just got here. So they escorted us out the game. I'm talking to the sheriffs. I'm like, "Yo, if any one of them follow me to the car, they ain't never coming back." So they keep us out the game. But Julius had about 30 points. Yeah, it's all good. We squashed it. Everybody squashed it. No, I don't know what happened to this day, but I ain't do nothing. It won't my fault.
Man, like I said, epic stories, man. K Mills, man. We're gonna jump right into a break. Hey, remember, this is the Hustle Within on SM Enlightenment Television. Hey, sponsors. Let me talk about the sponsors real quick. Forever Young. Ladies, you want to stay young, make sure you shop at Forever Young. Beauties and Cosmetics. Hey, make sure you shop there. You want to stay young. Capton Venture Partners. If you want to invest, make sure you continue to reach out to King C. Los or K Mills. These are the money men. I'm broke. Let me say it again. I am broke. These two guys got the money. 180 Hair Cutting Studio and Male Spa. You know, that's all I need to say. Hey, then you got hey, we're gonna jump right back out. We're gonna holler at you. Make sure you stay locked to the Hustle Within. We'll be right back.
Positive tips for a better life. with Terry Finnegan Lynch.
Consider the difference between owning a mistake and blaming someone else for it. When I own a mistake, it's mine to change. But when I blame someone else for it, I stay stuck in the experience. So consider both. And if you own a mistake, then you can grow from it. I'm a health and life coach, and these are Terry's positive tips for a better life.
WSME. Positive tips for a better life with Terry Finnegan Lynch.
Do you ever hear yourself say, I just can't? Maybe because it's something new, or maybe you've failed before. But what if instead you say, yes, I can? Wouldn't that feel better? Give it a try. I'm a health and life coach, and these are Terry's positive tips.
WSME.